Hi, good morning, everybody in room 6. Happy Friday. I wanted to read you guys a story today. It is called Ellison the Elephant. And in this story, there's what we call a moral. And we talked a little bit about what morals mean in a story. Morals, a moral to the story means that there is some kind of a lesson to be learned. So see if you can find out and figure out what the moral of the story might be. So, Ellison the Elephant by Eric Drachman and illustrated by James Muscarello. And I'm going to tell you that you might hear my cat in the background. He is meowing at me right now because he wants to go outside. So, that's Oliver. So, if you hear him in the background, you know who that is. So, I will read it first and I'll hold the pictures up, okay? Ellison was an elephant, a little elephant, and young. He was a young little elephant, but not a baby elephant. His friends and his sister Edna could all make their trumpet blast like other elephants, but not Ellison. He tried and tried, but all he got was a little toot. "See," cried Ellison, "I don't even sound like an elephant." "Ellison, I love your sound," his mother insisted. "It sounds just like you." "Well, I don't want to sound like me," Ellison answered. "I want to make a trumpet sound like everyone else." Ellison's mom got very close and touched him gently with the tip of her trunk. "Ellison, you're not an ordinary elephant. No, sir. You are extraordinary. Even your name is unusual. All the greatest elephants in history were unusual. That's what made them great." "But they tease me, Mom." "Oh, now, Ellison, one day they'll all want to be like you. In the meantime, you're an elephant and you need to have thick skin." With this, she gave him a motherly squeeze. Together, they walked down to the watering hole, trunk in trunk, where all the elephants were bathing. Ellison liked it when Mom washed his back, but when she sprayed under his chin, the ticklish Ellison giggled and squirmed. He watched as the others played their noisy games. They squealed and blasted, honked and blared. Not wanting to be called Smellison or Tooty again, Ellison made his way up the bank and behind a small clump of trees where he could be alone with his imagination. There he tried and tried to make that wonderful grand call that everyone else so easily made. He filled his cheeks with breath and threw his big ears forward, but all he got was a little toot. Full of despair, Ellison stomped and stomped until he stumbled over a little bush. That did it. He kicked that little bush and pulled it from the ground and shook it with all his might. And there goes my cat. And that was when the bush yelled, "Hey, Ellison, what do you think you're doing? Leave me alone, you elephant." "This is unusual," thought Ellison. "I've been yelled at by all kinds of animals, but never by a bush. I'm sorry, little bush. Ellison, are you okay?" Then out of this bush dropped that pesky weasel. "Don't let it happen again, Smellison," he yelled, and he waddled away. Ellison followed him around the corner, over the hill and into a valley, talking as he went. "Hey, wait up, Weasel. You can't talk to me like that. I'm bigger than you, and I apologized. And I didn't know you were in that bush in the first place. And you can't make me feel any worse because I can't even make a trumpet sound like an elephant. All I can do is make a stupid little toot." Weasel stopped in his tracks and looked around up at Ellison. "Okay, then do it." "Do what?" Ellison asked. "Your sound," answered. Stop whining about it and let's hear it." "Fine," Ellison agreed, and he blew a sad little sound. Weasel shook his head. Yep, that's terrible. I'd be mad too. And he disappeared into a hole in the ground. Ellison was not afraid of that little weasel. He walked right up to him, stuck his trunk down the hole, and blew a very loud, crisp, clear sound that echoed underground. What followed was a long silence during which Ellison was a little afraid. He wondered if he should have just let that weasel alone. But then Weasel popped out of the hole with dirt on his fur and a smile all over his face. Now I like that, he said, shaking the dirt off. Do it again. You're making fun of me, Ellison replied. No, I'm not, Weasel insisted. What else can you do? Well, I don't know, said Ellison. Can you hold it longer? Ellison tried, and he could. Can you change the pitch? And he did. And can you make a lot of quick notes like yada-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat? And he did. Wow, yelled Weasel. This is great. Okay. Now, close your eyes and look inside. When you find your voice, let it out. Ellison had no idea what his voice should look like, but he closed his eyes and looked inside, and looked, until he found it. It looked like nothing he'd seen before, but he knew it right away. It was his very own voice. Ellison felt his legs getting stronger and his heart growing bigger. That's right, Ellison, hollered Weasel, jumping up and down. Don't stop now. You've got it. And Ellison did not stop. He made every sound that came from inside, and it formed a tune that made him dance. When the other elephants spied him from atop the hill, they saw and heard what they'd never before seen or heard. They stood and they watched with their mouths hanging open, and before they knew it, all of their trunks were swinging in time to the rhythm of Ellison's jazzy music. When he came to the end of his brand new tune, Ellison opened his eyes and saw and heard the whole herd. They rushed downhill to see the elephant who'd invented music. Leading the pack was Ellison's mom, beaming from one big ear to the other. How'd you do it, Ellison? I had help, Mom, from Weasel. Weasel? Asked Mom. Your imaginary friend? Yeah, and he helped me find my voice, and it's really unusual. Edna, Eleanor, and Eli crowded in next to Ellison, begging, teach us, please. Everyone wanted to be unusual, like Ellison. All of the elephants, and some of the other animals too, danced and sang and kept rhythm while Ellison played his jazz trunk. When the sun went down, the lightning bugs lit up the darkness. All night, animals came from everywhere to hear the unusual elephant with the extraordinary sound. And that is the end of the story. So how did you like this book? This was one of my kids' favorite books when they were little, by the way. To me, I know I asked about listening for a moral or a lesson to be learned with this story. To me, what it spoke to me was we all have our own voice. We all have things that are special only to us. And we all need to find that thing, that our own voice, and embrace it and love it, because there is no one else in the entire world that is like you. No one. You're the only you that there is and ever will be, ever. And that is the coolest thing. So it's okay if you're not like anybody else or everybody else. It's okay to be different. I love being different. In fact, I try to be different because I think it's very special. So all of you, that's your job, to find your special voice inside. So with that, I'm going to say bye for now. Have a great weekend. Be kind to your families at home, because I know we're all in the house and all together, and sometimes it gets kind of challenging. So be kind. Be kind. Help everybody out. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.